Hello guys, I know what you're thinking. Episode 20, halfway. Welcome back to Literal TV, where we're doing the Big Brother 28, episode 20 recap. So it's the head household episode for the week. Obviously, those episode counts, they include Unlocked, but I'm assuming this season is about 40 episodes, because that's usually what these seasons are. So, yeah. Halfway through, we're on week 6, and this was an okay episode. It was very middle of the road, but there was some fun intrigue in there. So first off, we start off with the post-eviction stuff. Chuck left the house last week, and it's always quite interesting to see these segments before, because, back in the day, we used to get live at households pretty much every week, and they were just, like, not getting this pre-head household segment, post-eviction, pre-head household, because obviously the blockbuster kind of needs that segment, not just because it's just been a live comp and they need time to chill or anything, but also because, like, the game's changed. The blockbuster does change how people's games are going to go, like, the result of that. So it gives people time to talk before the head of household, more time for content for the episodes. But it also makes that day up until nomination feel very, like, tight. But yeah, I like those segments. I like that we get that. And we had not too much of it this time. Sometimes they'd be doing too much. This time it was about 5 minutes or so, which was okay. But sometimes it's like, we're like 15 minutes before the head house, and I'm like, we're finishing head house, so come 20 minutes before the end of the episode, and I'm like, guys, like, in this case, though, we go into the knockout trivia head house, which sadly wasn't live, because I think these comps are so fun live, and Diaz in them do not add anything. It's just like, I answer the question and I'm picking them because I don't like them. And the only real moment of intrigue we get within the picks is Rick and Dee kind of picking each other strategically. And Andrew was like, why are you picking each other? Obviously, it's to downplay their relationship. And I mean, that was made very clear on the episode by Dee and Rick. And Dee very openly. I wonder if anyone did overhear that. But yeah, so also what is interesting, the first picks, the randomized ones, were Yash and Camus. And obviously those are a duo, and Yash ends up getting to that final round against Barrett and winning. Yash is the new head of household. But something else that stood out about this comp is the fact that, like, pretty much every answer was wrong. There were, like, a couple right answers in there. I know Yash got a right answer in there. I don't know who else, but Yash's final answer wasn't anything. Barrett just got the one wrong. But I think this comp was too hard. I think it was a lot of guessing, because it was just visually like, because they didn't have time to count. Because every time, one of them would just rush to get it done and not count and try actually get the actual answer, which just taking a chance is not really an option during this one, because it's a 1 in 3. It's not honestly, the best option is to just count slowly and get the right answer, or count slowly and let them go early, and because they probably will, the other person. People are getting trigger happy on that comp. It was a mess. The problem is, it wasn't something that people were really trying to count, it seemed like. Obviously, we didn't see it live. Maybe, people were taking a little longer and they're still messed up, but I don't know. But anyway, Yash wins, which is fine to me. It's a bit of a power flip, but he is still connected to people in the majority. But yeah, we kind of miss out a lot of strategy, though, from this week, I felt. Like, before this, there was a lot of talks about the diamond power veto and how Rick was going to use it possibly this week. It feels like that hasn't been included in this week also fine. Obviously, it will be in the veto episode, and you'll see that. But to give context to people that aren't watching feeds, that was a big discussion between Dee and Devons on if they're going to use a diamond this week. Obviously, we have more info now, but yes, the bribe does end up being used this episode, though, which we'll get to. But Yash instantly, it seems to be nominating Haley, and Haley has an interesting episode here. I mean, first off, she gets, in the intro, the pre-head house stuff, she has multiple segments that I think it was Camus and Angela both had a segment talking to her, and they're both kind of like not too high on Haley. And Haley is just kind of house pariah now, which is quite funny. And there's also a segment later on. She's like, I think I'm going to be voted for the what's it called, the time capsule. And she also says, last week was about her being bullied, and And then when she isn't voted for the time capsule, she's like, why did they vote her? She looks really awful. I'm gonna be real. Like, the editors are having fun with her, and I have fun with her because she is this like, kind of cartoonish character. Also, her busted ass lip. Sorry, anyway, I just noticed that on the camera. I know you can see it. Yeah, it is pretty bad for Hayley here. This edit is clowning on her, but you know, it's entertaining to watch, and I do think they enjoy having her there. I don't think she's necessarily in their long-term plan in the edit, because sometimes here you see people and you're just like, yeah, the editors don't plan on them being there a while. But other times that person ends up, you know, winning the game or something. So, hey, not something to scoff at. So, I don't think Hayley will win the game, but you know, sorry, I was yawning, but I don't think Hayley will win the game. But yeah, maybe. So, anyway, we instantly get Yash looking at Hayley and Angela, and Angela is confused why Hayley feels so safe with Yash. But yeah, the last nom is kind of what the discussion is about. There was some talk about Melody, and Yash has a talk to Drew about that, and Drew says, you know, I don't think she's looking at you, Yash, because of Yash didn't vote for Melody, but I feel as if, like, he wants to pawn D. That's the other option. And pawning D is just a weird choice. Because why are you pawning such a big threat? I think targeting D wouldn't even be that god-awful for Yash. I mean, Yash didn't actually need a win this week, honestly. He didn't need it. But he can use it, and I feel like he could have gone for a big swing, but he's gone for a confusing swing where obviously we end up having D up, but we also have Angela up, who is, I guess, in the majority, but she's just a non-factor because she's not going to win comps. She might win like the rogue head of household or something. She won like a 2 or 3 in 26, 2 or 3 comps, but you know, she's not going to be a comp beast. She's not going to be someone that you really need on your side, probably. And then Hayley up is like, that's the house prior, and like, I guess if you want to keep stuff low key, but then, you know, nominate another pariah or something, another person on the outside, who would that be? I don't know, I guess Lala, because Lala's just kind of, she's not got many tight connections game-wise, apart from like Taylor, and I guess Camu, which that's the problem, is Camu, because Camu and Yash are tight. But it's like, I feel like there's no real direct reason with this head household. But yeah, we then go into this talk with D, where D goes to Yash and is like, you know, $5,000, I can give you this bribe power, $5,000 for you to use your nominations to not put me up. And Yash doesn't take it. Yash nominates D, Hayley, and Angela. But he's like, how much Taco Bell can I get with this? This is not a show sponsored by Taco Bell. I don't know what we're doing there. Get that woke nonsense off my screen. But it is interesting because if he truly plans to pawn someone and they're like, no, I'll give you $5,000 not to pawn me, that's a steal. But I don't know. Maybe part of him was thinking, maybe she could go home. But yeah, we also do get a lot of Rick content in this episode because of his closeness to a lot of these people. I mean, the Wolfpack, by the way, I feel as if we didn't really see that alliance form in the episode properly. Like, it gets mentioned a lot, and we had like a quick flash of its forming, but I feel like we didn't have like a whole scene. We didn't have like, you know, they meet in the room and they go like, oh, we're the Wolfpack, woo! Because they've just started mentioning it, and I feel like the edit really just went past that. This week's weird. This week's edit is weird. I'm gonna be real. They've not included a lot of stuff about the diamond, which was talked about early in the week. I think they're gonna use that as more of a twist in the veto episode, which I think is a little disingenuous, unless they show it as like a flashback, because it's a pretty important part of the episode. But instead, we need to do Lady of the Latrine, which, speaking of, Melody gets the time capsule. She goes in and she gets the Derek X punishment from Big Brother 23, the Lord of the Latrine, which is a pretty boring punishment, to be honest. I was like, I guess, you know, it's just a punishment that is fine. Like, on that season, we I don't really know. Like, I remember it. I remember Derek X wearing that costume, but it's, yeah, at least it's one that's a little older than, like, 27. But we also had the Big Brother 16 one last week. But yeah, Melody just can't stop getting these costumes, can she? It was fine. It was a fine. It's just we got one scene of it, really, like one standalone scene of the punishment. It's like, I don't really need any more, but we'll probably get more. Yeah, but it's not my favorite punishment they've done. I don't know what I would want them to do though. I'm trying to think like iconic punishments, or even what's in like iconic power. Like, I feel like they just did that power to give Rick Evans an idol. Like, the down power beater was essentially an idol, so they were like, yeah, let's give Rick an idol. But yeah, anyway, we're going into the final 11 after this week, and some would think that might be jury. I'm pretty confident it won't be, but you never know. So, yeah, who are your favourites? Let me know down below. Subscribe for more recaps. Literal TV's own reality show has its finale coming out next Saturday. I'd love to see you there. Alright, have fun. Goodbye.